big welcome to you that you found time to come. Today, we are talking about breaking the ceiling and then what? And that question was put to me today earlier. And I suggested if you break the ceiling, you then destroy the house. But I was quickly told that's not the way it works. There are other things that you can do when you break the ceiling. Well, I want to say a few things about the Women on Board Network. Our main aim is to help women get into positions of leadership and become effective at it. So you are in the right place. If your desire is to be involved in leadership, you are in the right place. I'm a student of leadership, and I always argue that leadership is the most important ingredient in any human endeavor, human endeavor. Without leadership, nothing will happen. So I'm always delighted when I get involved in talking about leadership because I believe in it. I know it is the irreducible minimum in anything that will get anywhere. So you're in the right place. Now, there are two parts to this. There is going to be the first part where Beverly is going to talk about the coteries. And then we have the guest of honor with us. Dr. Lydia Muriuki is the one who will help us to understand after we break the ceiling, then what? And I'm personally looking forward to getting to know exactly what happens when we break the ceiling. So karibuni, all of you. We are delighted that you came. And I want to turn it over right now to Beverly to take us through something on coteries. You are muted, Beverly. You need to open yourself.
Thank you. Good
Great.
evening to you and to everybody. Such a privilege to share about a great concept that we have. And so just to quickly get into it, when we all join WOBN, it's really for us to be the best board members that we can be. And this is embedded in how successful we are in our daily work and personal lives, because we bring everything and who we are into our positions on the board. For us to be the best that we are meant to be as individuals and collectively as a network, for us to increase our influence, impact positively the people around us, the institutions that we work for, we need to be challenged, to be stretched, encouraged, and we must be accountable. And this we can't do by ourselves. So the WOBN leadership did recognize this and created the peer accountability coterie concept. A coterie is a group of 7 members who meet bi-monthly for peer learning and accountability. And this learning experience is so that it can influence us in our real interpersonal situations and bring forth the coterie, bring forth the best in each of us. Trust, confidentiality, and commitment is really key for these groups to grow. When we met as 7, 8 members in our coterie, we barely knew each other. And this was after a conference that we had where this concept really now came to life because the leadership had been thinking about it and they were then implemented it after that. We didn't quite know each other. We had actually just met, most of us, in that conference, but we quickly were able to build that confidence, that friendship, and start really encouraging and learning from one another. And it's amazing when you're like-minded and you know that you're meant to fly, you're meant to soar up there and do great things and then spur each other into this. It's not hard to bond at all. So the discussions normally when we meet during the bi-monthly groups are around the leadership, the governance, business growth, personal growth, or mentoring commitments that we've made. One of the key aspects that we always have to do is come up with goals at the beginning of a particular quarterly year. So each person comes up with goals in these key areas. So mentoring, because we need to continue increasing the pipeline of leaders, women leaders who are going to make a positive impact at all levels, including the boardroom. You have personal goals of how you're going to grow in your work, in your career as a person, your business growth, because some people are entrepreneurs, and then also in governance and leadership. So these are then the goals that are going to be regularly discussed as we meet and followed through. We share then the key insights we are learning for our experiences and receive feedback, because at times we have questions or challenges, but we also celebrate a lot with one another. And based on the leadership and the feedback that we get, we then come up with action points. So the meeting will always end with us making commitments to what we are going to work on before we meet again. So it's a very good place to really keep accountable, to be challenged, but also to be celebrated. There's a convener, and it's important for the team, the group, to actually come up with some key norms on how often you want to either change your convener and how do you operate as a group. The meeting shouldn't be more than 2 hours because we know we are all busy, but it's important. And in 2 hours, you can actually do enough when you concentrate on it. We've had meetings where we've solely met for purposes of the meeting for 2 hours. We've done it during breakfast, we've done them during dinner, but we've also had a time where we just meet to just bond and get to know each other even better. So these are really aspects that you do. And because accountability is core to our groups, we actually do a brief report to WOBN at the end of every meeting. And this is also to help them understand and see how we are growing and highlighting the board and leadership appointments. So we keep tabs on that because it is key. We came here to be able to grow in governance and increase the numbers of women on boards. And so we keep challenging each other to take up these roles, to apply. And as people get appointed, we then also update the network. We also then include the key achievements and personal goals that we've done. And these are amazing. These are in all forms of ways, whether it's in your business career growth, whether it is in doing studies that are required or professional courses. So what is it that you need for you to grow and be the best that you want to be? We also share, and remember, confidentiality is a big issue, but there's a way that we then also indicate how we are influencing and impacting as board members to grow the institutions we are in. And finally, a key aspect is mentorship. Who are you mentoring? What's the impact of your mentorship? How are your mentees doing? Again, a very key aspect in terms of what we track and then report back to WBN. We've had 70 coteries set up so far. Some are active, some are dormant. And some of the key achievements that we've definitely gotten there is, if I may just read for you some of the verbatim feedback that we've received from groups. Don't limit yourself. Many people limit themselves to what they think they can do. You can go as far as your mind lets you. What you believe, remember you can achieve. Someone else said, it's not easy to sell a business. So this is someone who needed to sell a business and was supported by the coterie and realized it was not as easy as making the decision. Someone else says it's very important for the business to partner with like-minded people or teams. It's challenging after being spoiled as a boss in the corporate world to start your own business. Be your own boss because you end up being your own boss, a PA, a messenger, HR, everything is on you. So another thing is the diversity of the groups is amazing. So you'll find that you're a mixture of professions, of business entrepreneurs in there. And what happens is because of that, then if you're making a decision like this to transition out of the corporate world into or out of the NGO world into a business, then you may find that among your members, you have people who have gone ahead of you and that can help you with wisdom and insights of their own journey to then you to formulate your own journey going forward. And so one person says, better accountability than working alone or working alone. Another says the diversity in the coterie is what injects excitement. So there'll be diversity of age, diversity of professions, diversity on what you do, where you come from, your dispensation. So make sure your groups are as diverse as much as possible. And the beauty is this is something that, again, the Secretariat helps us to do in putting us together. Another thing here is really to encourage people to know is that sometimes people feel I only want to go with people I know. It's not a bad thing, but I think because we're here to learn, to grow, the best way is don't feel out of place when you're putting people you don't know. That's the beauty about learning. Remember, we're here to challenge each other, to spy each other. So being in a place where you're uncomfortable is what will give you the greatest leap in your learning. Someone else said the lessons improve discipline in working towards personal goals of members. The lessons also enhance skills in working with team members at the workplace, appreciating that they also have personal lives. So again, remember, there's no way we can make an impact at a board level if we've not made an impact in the leadership roles we have or in our personal lives. So these again are aspects that we spy each other to see how we are becoming the great leaders we are supposed to be in where we work. Another feedback is preparedness for application of board positions. by securing the basic annual government compliance documentation at the beginning of each year, including the EACC clearance, the KRA compliance, so being helped to meet the deadlines in a timely manner and with ease. So this again is where that accountability and sparring is such an amazing thing to help us do. And we always have these little people in our minds and on our shoulders who tell us we can't do, these self-limiting beliefs, but your coterie members will spur you and tell you can do it and help you every step of the way. And we've seen many, many people get appointed onto boards. The numbers have definitely gone up, and it's something we really, really celebrate. And lastly, one other comment is that planning and structuring one's time helps one feel more in control of life and is happier. Also experience the importance of learning to say no to certain things, but depending on the importance of order. So you can see, again, it's not just about your governance, but even you who you are as a person being helped in some of these things. So do contact the Secretariat so that you can be placed in a coterie and ask their questions, and they will be able to give you more feedback. In case you've been in a coterie that has been dormant, let me encourage you to take a step. Don't wait for your convener in case they're taking too long. We are all leaders, so take the step. Call everybody and reconvene so that you can start again at that journey. Get back onto the journey that you had started in building one another and building a great group together. So I really hope to see you at our next update and hear more in terms of how you're doing as we spur each other. Thank you. Back to you, Reverend.
Thank you, Bev. I'll pick it up from there. And
sorry,
thank both
Winnie.
of you and Reverend Geoffrey. It's wonderful to see the both of you. And thank you so much for launching us into this. Hi, Rev. It's been a while, and it's good to see you. And thank you, Bev. It's been wonderful seeing you and hearing you again this evening.
Winnie.
Without much further ado, I want to bring to us our speaker this afternoon. I had an opportunity to have a session with her this afternoon, and you really, really are going to enjoy listening to her. Dr. Lydia Muriuki is a leadership and management expert and a policy strategy analyst in the public sector with over 2 decades of experience in transformational leadership, turnaround management, public administration, and security management. She's a holder of a PhD in strategic management and is definitely a visionary trailblazer. She's been challenging status quo, and we'll get to hear more about that, creating a trail on terrain where none has been done by reshaping history, closing inequalities, and pioneering new avenues for leadership. It's no coincidence, therefore, that throughout her career life, her most striking success has been at the highest levels of national government administration as a county commissioner in Kisii County. Dr. Muriuki has served as a policy and strategy analyst in the Presidential Policy and Strategy Unit, and there she's been responsible for the Big Four agenda. Currently, she's the CEO of the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee, whose mandate is to advise His Excellency the President on his exercise of prerogative of mercy. In recognition of her distinguished service, she's been honored with the award of the Order of the Elder of Burning Spear, EBS. Additionally, allow me to just say that Dr. Muriuki is an accredited certified professional mediator. Reverend Geoffrey Njenga will be very excited and happy to note that. There's a kindred certification and professionalism there. And she is certified with the High Court of Kenya. And she's also a fellow of the Kenya Institute of Management and is currently the chair of FKIM Governing Council. She's a mentor, a strong advocate, a role model, and her character and unparalleled performance have been her secret to success. She's a strong believer that women can leverage on their strength to not only smash the glass ceiling, but also become permanent residents in the C-suite. It's my singular pleasure to welcome Dr. Lydia Muriuki to take the session. Karibu sana.
Is good enough? Thank you very much. Am I audible enough? Is that good?
Daktari, you're audible. You're good.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for that very kind introduction. I'm happy to be with you this evening among great ladies and discussing a subject that is of very great interest. I'll say, allow me to bring the subject into context. And I will begin by saying that this is a conversation that is of interest for all ladies. And I'll be answering the question of Reverend Njenga, that what happens after you break the glass ceiling, you become a permanent resident in the C-suite. So I hope I've answered you, Reverend Njenga. That is our aspiration as women. Then the second one is that we owe this to those that broke the glass ceiling before us, the many women that read the trail. We also owe this to the very many of us, the younger generation, that are aspiring to also enter the C-suite. It cannot be downplayed that women have been marginalized for years, but also the society does not owe us any duty. The society, and I want to reinforce this, the society does not owe us any duty if we that are in the C-suites do not perform. Then this is a very interactive conversation, and I'll want us to engage and see how can we become permanent residents of the C-suite. Allow me to share with you a few slides so that together we can walk in this conversation. So that is our first discussion. And we are asking ourselves, yes, indeed, we have shattered the glass ceiling. But shall this significantly strengthen or diminish the chances of other women joining the elusive C-suite in the future? So this is a conversation we shall have, and could be by the end of this conversation, we shall answer that question. Then our next question will be, all of us, the 40 of us that are here now listening, what will be your storyline? When your story is told, what will be said about you? And I would want to share with you a storyline of a very great lady, a story that was in the newspapers just the other day, it was this week, about Angela. Angela Merkel is the chancellor, the former chancellor of Germany. And she has been described in very, very, very kind words. She is a prototype of the envisaged girl child in the era of globalization. They say Angela is also joy and pride to the girl child. They also say she embraced transformational leadership that was very empowering. So my question to all of us here today is, what will be your storyline? What will be said about you? Because you shall exit from the positions that you hold today. We shall all exit from the positions we hold today. The next one is, what is that one phrase that can be used to describe you? Please let's think about this. It's called Ilingo, the AKA. If you wanted to describe Lydia in one word, if you wanted to describe the great ladies in this platform in one word, what is it that you can say about them? They could be forward-looking leaders. They could be visionary, empowering, engaging, inspiring. So this is upon us to know, to determine what shall be that one phrase that can describe us. Then the next one is we shall be asking ourselves, yes, indeed, and I'm happy the Women on Board Network, we aspire to sit in the boards. We aspire to be CEOs. Yes, indeed, it's good. But then, what is your unique value proposition? What is that one thing that makes you stand out? That one thing that makes you distinct from the competition? And do not forget that this space has previously been occupied by the male gender. And then there are also other women who would want to occupy the same space. So what will make you stand out? These are the questions that we shall be answering today together. So the first thing you need to do is you must have a comparing vision. There is a great lady there, also a trailblazer in that field. Just the other day, she was elected the vice president of the US, not a mean task. So you must have a compelling vision, and then the vision to be specific to you, flexible and energizing, and not a cut and paste. Then most important, always reconnect with your vision. And as you make decisions in the positions that you hold, please try to see whether this hinders or takes you nearer to where you want to be. So I'll be taking you through what I think, in my view, can make us permanent residents in the C-suite, because this is basically what we want to do. We have already, most of you there, most of us here, even those that have gone before us, we've already broken the glass ceiling. But then what is it that is going to make us permanent residents there? The first one, like I said, you must have a strategic vision. And then there are the 3 C's. Important, the congruence between your value system and the vision of the organization. Then your competitive edge, and I'll be looking at ourselves like a product. Just look at yourself like a product in the shelves. What will make somebody buy that product and not the other one? What is it that you are helping the organization do? What is your value addition? Then important is, we may think that we're in a competition with the men or other women, but the most important is that you must be the pilot of your own destiny. Do not match with your peers, break your own record. We have seen our great athletes. You are number 1, but you still want to break that record. Then of course, and this is the game changer, this, we need to combine the soft skills and the hard skills. Men are very wired to the hard skills. They are better than us in that. Oftentimes we say what a man can do, a woman can do, also do. But I doubt whether you can do all things that men can do. There are those that they can do better than us, and we know them. So if you combine the hard skills, this is your papers, the education that you have, the experience that you have, and then combine it with the soft skills, which are very rare in the male gender. This is humility, collaboration, consultation, and I think these are some of the qualities that the chancellor had. So if you combine this, you are going to create a blue ocean, because it's difficult to compete in the red ocean. I'll be showing you very briefly the characteristics of the blue ocean and the red ocean, and you will agree with me that is easier when you compete in the blue ocean. So once you have the hard skills and the soft skills, you become somebody different in the arena in which you operate. And you can then leverage. We want us to leverage on those female traits that we have, that we are known to have, so that indeed we can drive change in the C-suites. One of the most important leadership styles that will help us is the servant leadership. It's documented, and this is the leadership everybody wants. because it is a leadership that is transformational. It is a leadership that delivers results. Can you imagine that we possess as women more of these skills that are in the leadership, that is in the servant leadership, than our male gender, than the male gender have? So why shouldn't we use this? Why should we struggle to use what we do not have, or which we cannot compete on the hard skills, other than leveraging on the soft skills? Then let us lead with grit and grace, and that's part of our personality. And I'll be telling you, this is a very strong combination. Professionalism, collaboration, supportive management style, problem solving, all these are characteristics that are innate in women. They are part of our DNA. So we should use them to our advantage and exploit that. You can see those great ladies there. We just come from breaking the glass ceiling. Yes, indeed, we've broken the glass ceiling. That is why you sit as the CEO or you sit in the board. But please, let's always remember that even within the C-suite, there are invisible obstacles which you must negotiate. But I would want to tell you that if you become a recognizable brand, then on that seat that you sit is going to help you not fall off. The society or the environment we shall be working in, the various boardrooms, the C-suite is a dog-eat-dog environment. You'll find the broken rung, the grass crease. You'll be an only one and subjected to very great scrutiny, and you've seen that. Then the grass rag, which is a tendency to always look at you as the person who have to exit very fast in event there is an exit, there is a reason to exit. I indicated earlier, yes, indeed, a comparing vision. Look at yourself as a product. And I'll be asking the ladies here now, especially those that cease to speak. I would. The period in most cases, so that will be your sell-by date. So I'm asking you, is there any other board that is ready to grab you and make you a board member because of your value addition? If you are CEO and your period ends, is there another company that is ready to take you and also make you a CEO? You've seen it happening. You have the Madame Karuku already is a trailblazer in that line, and there are very many others. So if you add value to an organization, you become an indispensable product. And by the way, you shall have no sell-by date. Organizations will be struggling to retain you instead of could be looking at when you exit. Let's ground ourselves. We'll be looking at leadership. Leadership is key. Then we owe it to posterity, and I would want could be to challenge myself and the other great female leaders that are here. Let's mentor other female leaders so that we populate the pipe to have people who can take over when we exit. I want to go into this one. Please look at this. There is a great lady who is among us men. And this is what I've just mentioned too. Our progress may not be mental, but progressively, step by step, we'll get there and we shall transform the power dynamics, but only if, and I don't think you have anything else you can say other than being a value addition, adding value in your organization. That is just for information. Please get to know that even within the C-suites, the grass creeps, the challenge of the unknown one, the grass rags, and the dirt underneath are a factor. You'll face them or you face them. So what do I propose? You must be a ruthless optimist. Be ready to empower others. Even if you are the only one, please empower others so that when you exit, there are others that can take over. Please, for heaven's sake, let's leave a good trail. The pioneers that went before us left a good trail. We are the ones that are in the C-suites now. Let's leave a good trail so that we increase the chances of other women being considered to sit in the C-suite. And I mentioned about mentoring, which is very, very important. Yes, indeed, you have wrestled to break the glass ceiling. But like I said earlier, the congruence between your values and your leadership, those must be aligned together because you are the greatest example of leadership. The what you are is more important than what you say. And then important for us is let's stay in our lane. Forget the role of average. Being average may not get us, may not make us permanent residents in the C-suite. We have the case of Serena Williams in tennis, an icon, a legend. Bill Gates in his own space. We have Oprah Winfrey in her own space. And back here now, nearer home, we have Chimamanda Adichie. So if you maintain your lane, you are likely to become a regent, other than if you are all over, or if you observe the law of the average. We want to bring into context something that most of the times as we sit in the C-suites, we do not look at ourselves as products. You are a product as you sit in the C-suite. So ask yourself, can you easily be bought by your superiors, your bosses, because of the value you add? Can you also be bought by those that are lower you because of how you have helped them to unleash their potential? If we look at ourselves as a product, you are competing for market. The market is a C-suite. Then indeed you have to be a recognizable brand, so that when we ask for female ladies who can sit in boards, such and such a name crops up immediately. So think of your identity as a brand. Ask yourself, what is your destination? We want to sit in boards, but after our sell-by date, the 3 years, shall you be re-elected to sit in the board? Then for this to happen, we must prove our worth. And proving our worth, we'll be working on both the soft skills and also the hard skills, because you must be an authority. You must be an authority in the field that you say you operate in. We are always reminded to think outside the box. Let's have self-confidence and openness, and always remember never to compromise on being you. I want us to focus on this slide. There's that casual narrative that if you want to become a leader, you must adopt the traditional male behavior. Could be you have different experiences, but my personal experience in the space that I have operated, you do not have to adopt the traditional male behavior to be a leader of substance. I don't know your experience, but could be. It could be the same or different. So we are urged as female leaders, we forget, let's not ape the hyper-masculine style. This style rejects what we have in ourselves. We said if we want to create a blue ocean, an ocean where competition is not very, very cutthroat. When you think of a blue ocean and a red ocean, the red ocean is filled with blood. But for the blue ocean, it's milder. So if as a female leader, you want to sell yourself on the basis of hyper-masculine style, and then you downplay the female traits that are in your DNA, these are collaboration, empathy, respect for due process, qualities or characteristics that are said to be critical, to be core or the key in servant leadership, then we need to ask ourselves a question. If I was to propose, we should adopt the feminine approach to leadership. This provides for compromise, collaboration, and the great story that we just had about the German chancellor. It is said that in situations where the opponent or the other side, the opposition, had a stronger position and right position, they could easily agree on a common position. And here is the catch for us female leaders. Please let's support others. We talked of the challenges in the C-suite. If you don't support other women to come up, then upon your exit, there shall not be others to take over from you. Everybody knows the importance of being a 360-degree leader. I'll not go into that. And I want to go into one of the leadership quotients, the EQ. This is more common in women than it is in the other gender. And you can exploit that which you have, what you have more to become a good leader. You think of leadership and think of it as brains alone. Lead with your heart, the soul, and then have good nerves. We are thinking of how to become permanent residents in the C-suite for us to make a difference. And then there comes my conclusion. Yes, indeed, there is evidence to suggest that a shattered glass ceiling significantly raises the chances of other women to take power in the near future. That is why we are there, because those that shattered the glass ceiling before us opened the door for us. So are we opening the door for the other female leaders, the younger generation that wants to come into the C-suite? We owe this to them. Just as we are brought by others, it is important for us to also create the way for others. We talked about value addition. What value shall make you unforgettable? I just mentioned about the sell-by date, 3 years for most boards. But there are names that are unforgettable, but there are names you forget very, very, very fast. So what is your brand? Think about it. Shall you be in the league of the unforgettable? Shall you be in the league of the forgettable? Oprah is telling us that excellence makes you unforgettable. I'll challenge myself and also all of us that are here to take a keen interest in what is happening, the changing trends. Let us not be caught unprepared. And let's borrow brains if we have to, because we must make a difference in the C-suites. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Daktari, for sharing with us. I like that last part in short. Let's borrow brains if we have to. Whatever it is that we need to do to shatter those ceilings and raise others after our own kind, that we must do. So many amazing nuggets to pick up from there. And I just want to take this time to pick up questions from you. If you can raise any questions in the chat box so that Dr. Lydia can respond to them. This is our time to speak, to chat, to ask questions. I think while we wait for more questions to come in, I'll just pick up some chats that have been put on the chat box. There's someone from Johnson City, Tennessee, saying good evening, and it's nice to have you. We're glad that you could come. And we welcome all of you who are there and all the kind comments you're putting. Maybe, Dr. Muriuki, I will just ask, give us an example of where it would be necessary to borrow brains when we don't have them, and what that looks like in practice.
Would you want me to answer that first or the others?
I think we can answer that as we get more questions coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. I'll begin by saying that our brain is limitless. Faced with any situation, your brain can respond to the challenge that rises. The next one, in my view, will be nobody has monopoly of knowledge. Like now we want to remain permanent residents in the C-suite. So consult, consult, consult. Get ideas from others that have walked the journey. I was in the space of the national government administration, and the key is consultation. Consultation. Asking questions where you think you're wrong. And then owning but not copycatting. Getting what somebody says and then seeing whether it's going to fit within your context and then applying it.
Wonderful. Consult. Nobody has monopoly of knowledge. There are two questions that I will ask. One is, how can one apply hard skills? We talked about application of soft and hard skills. So there's a questioner asking, how can you apply hard skills? The second one is, how can I overcome the perception of people looking at you, the size of your body, and immediately undermine you? Okay, if you're a petite on heels, leading on heels, we call them, how do you work through that? And perhaps last one, as I allow you to take those three, is somebody saying, thank you for the session. Please share an experience on a challenge you have faced in your board experience and how you overcame it. We can move on with those three as we wait for others.
Let me answer the first one on the hard skills. All of us are employed on our hard skills because one of the hard skills is your education. So somebody wants to know, you want a PhD, you want a certain degree for a certain or a certain competency for a certain job. Then the next one is your experience. Those are two of the hard skills that every employer is looking for. And in most cases, you'll find that these are skills that almost all of us have, both male and female gender. And in some specializations, the male gender may be better praised in those skills. So applying the hard skills is, you must have them, because before you enter the C-suite, like now for you to be in the C-suite, at least there's a certain level of knowledge that is expected of you. Then the soft skills, and this is why I said, for us women, we can be very advantaged. If you combine, like now you're in a leadership position, you have the hard skills, education, just like any other person. You come up with a wealth of experience, having done that in other places, and then combine them with only one soft skill, humility. You'll be surprised that you'll scale very, very great heights. Then the next question was, when you are petite nature, is it so?
When yes, what happens when you are petite and you're undermined?
Let me tell you, this is my experience. I'll be sharing my experience. When I became county commissioner, I'm small, too small to even mention. But I'll be saying this without any fear of contradiction. The moment you are an authority in your space, size becomes irrelevant. To begin with, people will want to say, like now, most often time women, when female leaders get into a space, they are looked at as if you are illegitimate. So this is something you must know, that everybody looks at you sitting on that chair, but there's that element of legitimacy. So to prove your legitimacy, you must be armed with two things, if I may say. You are an authority in that space. And nobody will only, unless it is just for child's sake, nobody will disregard an authority. Then the next one is let people know that by your presence there, you are adding value. They want to see what shall this small lady do for this organization. The moment you start delivering, especially sorting out real problems, then your size takes a background seat. I've been a victim of that. And I proved my point through being an authority in my space. Because you'll sit with anybody and on that subject, you tell them, yes, I think I'm well placed to discuss this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Authority, legitimacy,
yes,
and coached in humility.
Yes.
Wonderful insights. There's another question here. Board level, succession planning of the CEO role is a key responsibility. Can you share your experience? The succession planning is key,
Yes.
any CEO's role at board level. And so the participant is asking, can you share your experience on this matter or any tips in managing succession planning?
Thank you. As I share my experience, I also reference to good corporate governance in my view. Any leader owes it to himself to leave an organization seamlessly, such that there's no turbulence, there's no chaos when you leave. And I would want to cite the case of the General Electric during the time of Jack Welch. Organizations have a program whereby you, as the almost exiting CEO, start now looking at those that can take your place. And like the way you want to be there forever, you frustrate those that may be coming to take your place. Good corporate governance. I don't believe in this saying that you left a big gap that cannot be filled. That is not sound management. You should look at everybody and then start growing them, start mentoring them, start preparing them for your exit. And for heaven's sake, your exit, when I exit from this office that I'm in, should be as seamless. People should not even know that I've exited. So that is what I would tell you. Start preparing. Don't fear that. Because if you're good, you're good. Prepare others.
I like that. If you're good, you're good. And we cannot also over or underemphasize the importance of good corporate governance as women on boards. Our final question is, aside from supporting and lifting women who are in your immediate environment, in your experience, how can we ensure that participation of women in leadership is beneficial for all women? How can our leadership be beneficial for all women beyond those that are within our sphere of influence?
Thank you. Allow me to say something I forgot to say. And this is, much as we are marginalized, you are coming from a situation, you've not even come out of it yet. It's a fact that women are marginalized. It is a fact that we have very many barriers, leave alone for ourselves, but for those other women, there are very many great barriers for women. But I want to say this, and I'm telling myself that nobody owes you anything if by sitting in any office, you're not going to add value. So what I would propose for all of us, the first thing is be a role model. How many people would want to be Winnie? If I may pause, how many people would want to be Lydia? So that is the first benefit, because you are going to give hope to the girl child that yes, indeed, you can become somebody. Then the next one is be involved in mentoring programs, coaching those that are not even within your space or within your organization. Like now, I'm very keen on the progress of women or females in the line of national government as county commissioners. Just take a keen interest so that they know they have somebody they can ask a question on how do I navigate this new challenge that has come our way. I said earlier, we owe this. In fact, it is not a question of what we can do, we owe it. You not have been there, or not have been here, if it wasn't for the pioneers. So let us go out of our way and be role models, let's coach, let's mentor. And more than everything else, let us prove that yes, indeed, we are not impositors. We are not illegitimate in the C-suites.
Amazing. We are not illegitimate in the C-suite. That's a wonderful place to land, dock this ship. Dr. Lydia Muriuki, it's been an absolute pleasure for Women on Boards to host you this evening. And we know that we will continue these interactions as we go along. I would like to now invite Kirote Moria to take on and do the closing remarks. And thank you so much, ladies, for having taken your time to engage in this conversation tonight. Kirote, over to you.
Thank you so much, Winnie, for just facilitating us in that session. Dr. Muriuki, it is such a pleasure. We have really, I personally have really taken out so much from this evening, and I'm so grateful that you made the time to be with us this evening. We appreciate you, we honor you, and we look forward to engaging with you in other sessions going forward. I know there is so much more wisdom we can get from you. When you mentioned, I think it was mentioned in your profile, that you're a pioneer, I remembered a quote from Condoleezza Rice. If we all remember her, she was a Secretary of State to George W. Bush, as well as a national security advisor. And she said, people who end up being first or being pioneers don't actually set out to be first. They set out to do something that they love. And I think that fits in so well with some of the things you have actually explained or articulated this evening. What is it that we love? What is it that we connect with? Let us stay in our lane, because that may actually be the base of our storyline. So thank you so much, Dr. Muriuki, and we really do appreciate you. And to the two facilitators that we've had, Bev explaining to us about the coteries. In fact, I wanted to put in an application today to belong to your coterie. So I encourage each and every one of us who is here this evening to join the network if you're not already a member. And if you are, please sign up to join our coterie. Thank you so much, Winnie, always so articulate. We encourage each and every one of you. Thank you so much for making time to be with us this evening. We have other upcoming events, and we welcome you to our board talk. The next one, the webinar will be on Thursday, the 11th of March, 2021. So please pen it into your diary. Don't pencil it in, pen it in so that you can come and join us on that evening. There's also the Global Women on Boards Program 2021, which is running from March to October. Please do speak to the Secretariat. Mrs. Wanga is here, Hannah is here, and they can support you. There's also the board profiling and personal positioning workshop. And I think Dr. Muriuki this evening has really emphasized about your brand, your profile, because it really is what speaks to you being legitimate and being having the staying power in the boardroom or in the C-suite. So please attend the workshop 29th March to 1st April 2021. TP Pao will be running that. He's from Malaysia. He's a founder and principal of TP Pan Advisory and an ex-principal at Conferry. He really is awesome for those of us who have attended his board profiling network. And we have something too to celebrate as the Women on Boards Network this year. I know our chair, Catherine Musakali, is also in the house. So welcome, Catherine, and the rest of the founder members. It is 7 years since the Women on Boards Network was actually launched. 7 is a great number. It's a number of completion, and we are really excited. We will have our anniversary celebrations on the 10th of April, 2021. Please stay with us. We look forward to having you on that day. More details will be circulated. I think it will be a wonderful time, not only of celebrating, of thanking God for this far the network has come, but also of learning. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. Hannah, are we having a photograph this evening? Because if we are, we shall put on our cameras and take our photograph. But once again, please accept our deep appreciation. And thank you so much, Winnie. Perhaps I can hand back to you just for the final closing. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Nkirote. Hannah, do we have a photo this evening?
Yes, we can have one.
Fantastic. So ladies, this is your cue to shine. Turn your cameras and let's do this. Let's take a photo together with Dr. Lydia Muriuki and just, love on her and say thank you and stand to be counted alongside her. I see our board chair, Catherine, in the house. It's wonderful to see all of you. So if we can all switch on our cameras and smile until Hannah says we are done. You all look so beautiful from where I'm sitting. Just keep your cameras on and keep the smile going. Rose, turn your camera, and Mary, and Imelda, Jane, everybody put on your cameras. Hannah, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Lydia Muriuki, if you tell us you're ready, then that's our cue to smile.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Wonderful. Okay, Hannah, 1, 2.
Good.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you all so much,
Yes, I have taken
ladies.
the photo.
Thank you so much. We're glad you could come. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for engagement. Remember, the next meeting, 11th of March, remember to join the coteries. Remember to sign up for Women on Boards if you're not already a member. Good night and God bless you. Thank you. You may leave at your pleasure.